Hi guys, I wanted to make a quick video as we're getting closer to the start of the year to show you about the apps. I know there's been some confusion about the different apps and what you need to use and what you don't need to use and how they all work and how they align with everything. So I just wanted to make a quick video. So the CCL online.base44.app is the main hub. So everybody has an account for this one. You should be logging into it pretty regularly just to check announcements, if nothing else. This is where I'll make like basic announcements like payments are due, or there's a hurricane and we don't have school this week, that kind of stuff. So those will all show up for everybody. And so you should be checking in weekly. I'll also have things like assignments and the classes the kids are enrolled in, and all of their online apps will be in there. So this is the one that everybody needs to be checking regularly. It's cclonline.base44.app. The login for everybody is the same. It's hello, well, it's not the same, but it's the same pattern. So it's hello plus your first name, I'm gonna use Dean's, at creativeconnectionslearning.com, and the password for everybody is CCL Online. Okay, so everybody's login is hello plus their first name at creativeconnectionslearning.com, and the password for everybody is CCL Online. If your first name isn't working, try the first name and the first initial of the last name. We do have a couple kids that have the same first name. If none of that is working, just reach out to me and I will see what's up. Okay, so sign in and that'll work. Okay, so once you're in, you'll see the home. This is where the announcements are. So I have semester payments up here, summer reading that I've put up, and then we do still have one more week of summer camp. So your announcements are all up here. You can X them. They will show up next time you log in. If they have assignments, they will be here marked as pending. So there are 2 assignments right now for Wednesday and Thursday that will need to be done before the first week of school. So that will show here. If your kid is doing them, they can check them off. You do not have to do this. If you click on it, it'll show you more of a description. It'll show you a link if there is one, and then you can mark it as complete. If you want, you can have your kids check this off. If they check it, it'll move over to completed. If they don't check it off by the due date, which is down here, it'll move to not completed. Again, it's up to you if you want them doing that. It's just to show like what assignments are coming up. They'll also know this once we get started, like the teachers are going to tell them what is due each week. It's also in their notebooks. So this is just an extra place to see what needs to be done. It'll also show the classes the kids are enrolled in that day. Today's Tuesday. Dean is in Tuesday classes, so it shows these are his classes. You can click on each of the classes, I think. No, not here. You can go to my classes to see what you're enrolled in. It'll show them all here. They should be in order. And inside of each of the class, you will see what the class is about, the teacher, when it meets, the time slots, the materials needed if they need anything, the class resources. So these are going to be the different apps that you can link right out to them. And then the document. So if you lose your book, this is where you will go to reprint pages. Back to classes. So that is for each of the classes that they're enrolled in. If they are full day, they'll also have study hall, and you will have the math schedule for this year here. So the good and the beautiful is the suggested math program. That does not mean you need to use it. But if you would like to, if it aligns with what you guys want to do, make sure you download the placement test and place them. Okay, so after classes, right, I think that was all that was there. So yeah, each of the classes has all the documents, has the app. We can try linking from here too. So say you're in literature. Literature does have homework. The kids need to be reading their novels ahead of class each week, so that when they're in class, they can discuss what they read about. They do need to be doing their workbooks as well. Let's see. Long walk is the first 7th through 9th. I'm going to show you an example. These are all in their notebooks, but if you don't have their notebooks in front of you or you haven't picked them up yet, you can come and see here. So before week 1, this is a 7th to 9th grade group. They need to have read chapters 1 through 6 of A Long Walk to Water. It's about 40 pages. It's a pretty easy read. They need to be answering the 5 questions and completing the vocab in their journal before class. In class, they're discussing and like working on projects and papers and that kind of stuff. So if they have not read, they're going to be lost in class. The work is all in here, the questions to answer. Help them as much as needed. For the reading, they can read, they can listen to audiobook, you can read with them, whatever you guys want as a family. And then vocabulary is here, definition, drawing, and personal connection. And then they will have discussion notes. This is going to be done in class. So they don't need to do the in-class stuff at home. That will be done in class. So just the before class stuff. So that is all in there. The app, if you click on, like all of the apps in all the classes is perfectly aligned with the term. So I'm going to click on 7th to 9th. So a lot of them will have the grade levels up here because each class is slightly different. So in literature, they're reading different books. So you want to click on 7th to 9th to get the right books. All the apps are divided into terms. So you'll see term 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once the content has been loaded, it'll be here. So for week 1, this is based on what they needed to do for week 1. They had to read chapters 1 through 6 in this book. These are the vocabulary words that are in the book, or they should be. Let me know if you find errors. There's going to be errors. I'm going through and trying to check everything. Miss Brooke is helping me with that as well, but there's going to be errors. So let me know if you find them. So you have your vocabulary words and the definitions. There are quizzes in here. If you want to log progress, you do need to log in. There's comprehension questions, and then there's writing. The idea with the apps is to give extra practice for families who want that and for high school kids. So we have several kids that are going into 9th grade next year, and things change in high school. You do need to be recording hours. You do need to make sure they're doing 4 to 5 hours per week per core subject if you're only working those 4 to 9 week terms, because 1 credit in high school is 120 to 150 hours. They need an English language art credit, English language arts credit. They need a science credit. They need a math credit. They need a history credit. They need that every year. So, right, they need 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, 4 history, and then they need 2 language. So like Spanish 1, Spanish 2, German 1, German 2, plus all the electives. So if you want to use our courses to count for one of their high school credits, you need to be logging hours and making sure they're actually keeping up with the work in order to give them grades. And I'll go through all of that high school stuff in a different video because I know that doesn't apply to a whole lot of kids, but I've designed all of these apps that I started doing all the app things just to help kids and parents keep up with the stuff at home, because I feel like there's a lot of confusion about like, what should I do at home? Does this count as a full credit? And if you're only coming once a week and you're not keeping up with homework and you're not doing anything in the workbook, no, it does not count as a full credit. One 45-minute class once a week is not a full credit in any subject. That doesn't matter when you're in 3rd grade. You don't need to be recording history credits in 3rd grade. You do in 9th grade. So that's the idea here. And I'm already rambling. But anyway, so that's literature. You can see there's different books for each of the different grade levels. So at the younger grade levels, this is like if you want them to do it. You don't have to do it. You can, though. And if you want to record their comprehension scores and stuff. I'm having my kids do it, even the ones that are not in high school, because I want to see, did you read the book? Did you understand it? Because these are pretty basic questions. If you've read the book, you should be getting most of these questions correct. I'm going to make my 9th grader do the writing. I'm probably not going to make the younger 2 do the writing because they just have so many other courses and stuff. But I am having them write all the time. Writing is really, really important. Okay, so then if you click on your online courses, so all of the apps are linked inside each of the classes. So that's one way to find them. They are all in here. So Speech and Debates app is right here. If you click on it, it'll take you to the Speech and Debate app. And it's laid out the same way. For most of the classes that are electives, this is totally optional. If you miss a class, it would be a good way to go in and see, what did they talk about in class today? Here's some reading about it. And then there's a video link. I put a disclaimer at the top of every video. It's linking out to YouTube. There's all kinds of inappropriate content on YouTube. Anytime you're going to have your kids click around on links in YouTube, if that could be a concern for you, if like you don't want to just let them search on YouTube, make sure you're there when they start something, right? So they're going to click on a link and it's going to take them out to YouTube. And you don't want them just clicking around. Like, see what video they're watching and make sure you're at least watching the first part of it with them to make sure it's not something that's inappropriate, if that applies to you. I mean, again, older kids, you probably don't care as much, but for like 4th graders, I wouldn't just let them be searching around on YouTube for videos. So that's a video. And then again, there's quizzes. You do need to log in to take a quiz in writing. And this is only going to be if you want to count this as an elective. So most of our classes are going to be elective classes. You do need electives for high school, but you don't need a whole lot every year. We have a lot of elective options at Creative Connections. So like for my daughter, I'm going to see after the first term which one she's particularly interested in, and we will work outside of class on the one she's interested in, and I will not make her do homework for the ones she is not interested in. So the only required homework is going to be for those core classes. So that's going to be writing. Kids need to be doing writing outside of class. History is a flipped classroom model, so they will need to be learning about the topic before they come to class. And then literature, they're going to need to be reading their book before they come to class. So for history, you can see in the app, again, it's laid out very similarly to speech and debate. They will have questions to answer each week. Let me go back to look at that. Okay, so there's 2 books for this one. The 7th to 9th has extensions. 3rd through 7th, there are 2 different groups, but their workbooks are the same. So before class for history each week, it'll say clearly in their book, before class, they need to research about whatever the topic is, and it will give you some little terms to search and some questions to answer. The idea is that they need to come to class having some kind of background knowledge. You can use the app for this because it's aligned. You can click on week 1. These are the things that they are going to be talking about week 1. These are the questions in the week 1 workbook. These little boxes should answer some of that. These videos should answer some of the questions. You don't have to use these if you don't want to. You are welcome to do your own search on YouTube for videos. You're welcome to go to the library and look up videos. You're welcome to talk as a family about this stuff, use other curriculums you've used, however you want to research it. The idea is just that we want them to come to class prepared to talk about this stuff, so Holly is not just teaching it for the first time. The best use of time for a 45-minute class is not just for her to be reading from a book, especially as they get older. It's to have them discussing and to be working collaboratively. So they have questions, they'll come to the class, they'll go over them together, they'll have a discussion. This part here is class discussion. That will be done in class. And then the group activities, they'll have one each week and they'll work together. And again, if they have no background knowledge, they're not going to really be able to contribute to the group at all. And then for the older kids, they will have a go further to get those high school credits. They are going to need to be working a fair amount outside of class. So that will be at the end of each week, you'll see where it says optional extension. This is optional for all of the kids. But again, if your kid is in 9th grade and you want to give them high school history credit, you need to be doing more outside of class. So this is one way to do that. They can research and write. Okay, so that is history and literature. Those are the 2 that you are going to have homework if you're in those classes every week. Online learning is going to have all of those apps we just talked about. So again, most classes, not every single class, but all the classes that I've made the curriculum for are going to have apps here that I've also made. Most of them, or all of them, should be unlocked. So you should be able to click on any of them that you have in your online learning, and you should be able to access like the reading and the video material without logging in. So if you miss a class, or if your kids are interested after class, they can log in and read and watch the videos. Okay, it's not loading. I don't know why it's not loading. Let's see if another one loads. Okay, something's going on with this one. So yeah, if you encounter this kind of stuff, let me know. Let's try a different one. Let's try writing. So again, it's laid out the same way. Always check to make sure if there's these little boxes at the top with the grade levels, you click on the one your kid is in. The videos might vary. Sometimes the topics are different, like in literature. Other times they're very similar. So you click on whatever week you're on. It goes over what they're learning about, whatever the skill is in class. It has video links here with a notice. Make sure you're watching with them because it's going to YouTube. Quizzes, you should log in order to save the score. Some of them will let you take the quiz, but they're not going to save your score unless you're logged in. So if you care to save the scores, make sure you log in. I have not created accounts for everybody on all of these, so you can either create your own account using an email, or if you want me to make your Hello Plus accounts, just text me and our request during the or in the hub here where it says Notes with Erica. You can send me a note. Hey, please make me a writing login, and I'll do that there. Okay, I think that's most of it. Oh, okay, so we also have a planner. Here it is. So this weekly planner and checklist will be a good place for those who really want to keep track of their hours and stuff to do that here. So you click on your grade level, you go down here, and you can see term 1, week 1, it'll show you the dates. And then this is what we're doing in morning classes. This is what you should be doing every day. You should be doing 30 minutes of math and 30 minutes of language arts outside of your morning classes, 4 days a week. And then the homework, so what you need to be doing before or after class, and it should say like the days and stuff to get it done. If you go on checklist, it'll show you here when it needs to be done by. You'll check off. You can't check until you've logged in, but then it'll track it. And then for the older kids in high school that want to log hours, you can do that here. And again, log in to track progress. If you prefer paper, that's all here also. You can download the calendar. You can download, gotta click on a grade, the planner and checklist here. You can print this out and have it bound. I'm gonna have it bound for Liliana for the first term. And then grading I have for the older kids too. So these are gonna be, again, optional. With the transcripts, you do give grades. So the parents are giving the grades, we're not giving the grades, but I'm giving you kind of a breakdown on how you can give grades. So for the core subjects, I have 9 of them. So this will be for each week. You'll fill one in, and then you average the scores to give your kid a score. And it's based on a rubric. And this is showing you kind of like what to look for each week. So language arts is literature, writing, and then a supplemental English language arts program. You can use language mastery if you're full day. It's free, it's included, or you can use other things for vocabulary and for grammar, and then make sure you're doing extra writing outside of just the writing class. Give them scores based on how they do. You need to check their books, make sure they're doing stuff. And then these scores that you give them then get put in at the end on like the term ones. These are all weekly. I have them all for the core classes. There's 9 of them. For the electives, I just did the summary. Okay, so here's the summary. So for each of the core classes, each week, you'll fill this in with a score. And then at the end of the term, you will add them and average them to give you a term average. I did the weekly score because I don't want to surprise my daughter at the end of the term with like a C when she thought she was getting an A. I want her to see, and I think she'll be highly motivated by seeing these scores. I know I was as a kid. Some kids this is going to be disastrous for, so don't use it for them if it's not going to work for them. But I know for me, if I saw that I was getting 2s and 3s, that's not an A. That's going to be a B or a C, and I'm not getting a B or C, so I need to step it up. So that's kind of the idea behind this grading stuff. And again, you don't have to give grades until high school. And I'm still not 100% sure you have to give grades in high school. I think you do, though. I think the transcripts has to have a grade. So again, the main thing is the CCL online.base44.app to check in. See, look, it repopulated these. To check in for announcements, to check assignments that you need to do. You can see what classes they're in. And then all the online learning apps are all here. And again, this is all optional. You do not have to do any of this stuff. It's just there to help give the structure if you want it. The main classes where it's going to be very important that you keep up with homework are going to be history and literature. They're both Miss Holly's classes. They're both going to be heavily discussion based, and if the kids are coming to class unprepared, they're just not going to get much out of the class. All the other classes, they're going to be presented to the material on that first day of class that week, so the apps are going to be less important. If they miss a class, though, that'll be a good place to check and see what they missed. So I hope that helped. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see y'all soon.